Hey, thanks for joining me today. It's Monday, the 19th of April. I've got a really interesting story for you today. It's about European soccer, but I do think, Flame On, that you're going to like this story because it's not just about the sport. It's about the business of the sport and underdogs and greedy elites, if you will. I think you're going to find it really interesting. First, I'm going to read you the story and then give you my thoughts about it, put it into context for people that don't follow European soccer. So first, here is the story. This is from CNBC. Disgusted, plans for breakaway European Super League met with widespread fury. And I want to thank everyone for hitting that like button. It really does help my channel out. The key points of this story is the European Super League is designated to rival the UEFA Champions League format, which is currently Europe's top annual club competition. 12 of Europe's wealthiest teams have signed up as founding members of this new league, and they've been backed by $6 billion, with a B, dollars in debt financing from JPMorgan. Former Manchester United defender Gary Neville said, "I'm disgusted, absolutely disgusted." Okay, so this is about a new soccer competition called the European Super League, and it's been met with widespread criticism and resistance from former players, politicians, governing bodies, pundits, and especially fans. 12 of Europe's wealthiest teams have signed up as founding members, and the teams that have agreed, 6 teams from England, 3 from Spain, 3 from Italy, and they're going to add they'll have 15 permanent members, and they'll have 5 rotate in on a yearly basis. Now, the billionaire owners of the clubs that have signed up to be part of ESL have been accused of being greedy. So let me try to put this in context for you, for those of you that don't follow European soccer. I don't very much at all. But the way that it works in Europe is each country has their own league. Right, so there's an English league and a French league and an Italian league, a Spanish league, etc. And they will have their club games usually on the weekends. And there's a tournament that takes place that goes throughout the year called Champions League, where 32 teams will be playing against teams from other countries midweek. And what's really interesting about this is each year it's different on who gets to participate. You have to have done well in the previous year to be able to participate. There's a long, complicated system for determining who's in it. But for example, so they rank the leagues. The English league is really good, and so they get 4 teams in the tournament. And, Spain will get 3 teams in the tournament. France will get 3 teams in the tournament. And then little tiny countries that might not be as competitive, they may get 1 team in the tournament, or they might have to play in to get into the tournament. So the tournament will be of 32 teams, and then they'll get to play against each other. But the great thing about this is if you do really well, you might be able to participate in this tournament. So if you're in Austria, for example, and you win the Austrian League Championship or whatever, you're number 1 in Austria, then you might be able to participate the next year in Champions League, so you can play some of the biggest teams in the world. But what's really awesome is if your team doesn't make the top 32, right, you're not in the Champions League this year, then there's the Europa League, which is the second tier league that you might be able to participate in. So you do really well in that league, you get to move up. You don't do well, you move down. It's what European soccer is all about, being able to go up a league, down a league, etc. And so what's happened, though, is there's some big players that are always at the top of the game. And they've just decided, you know what? Why do we need to allow anyone to participate? Why do we allow all these scrubs to take our money, right? We're the big draw. We're Manchester United. We're Barcelona, whatever. We're the ones that bring in all the fans, so we should get a part of that, always, whether we're good or not. And so unlike the Champions League that would take the top 4 teams from England, this new Super League is just going to have the top 6 teams from England in it always, no matter what. Even if they didn't do very well that year, it doesn't matter because they're the big teams and they're just going to participate in this and take the money. And other teams, screw them. Right? That's kind of how it works. It really looks like a big money grab. And to try to put this in perspective, and I know analogies aren't always good, but imagine, if you will, the NBA had a separate tournament and like 6 of the top teams just decided, we're going to have our own tournament every year. It's not going to be the NBA championship. It's going to be, the Ballers Championship or something like that. And we're just going to pick the teams that participate, and everyone's going to get millions of extra dollars. And you would have like the Lakers in it, or the Celtics and the Warriors and the Bulls, and just the really big teams would participate in this every year. And there'd be a lot more TV coverage on those teams, and they'd be bringing in a lot more money, and they wouldn't have to share it with all the scrub teams out there. The Milwaukee Bucks wouldn't have to get a cut, and you'd never see the New Orleans Pelicans or the Memphis Grizzlies, right? They're not going to be part of it because they're scrub teams. They're at the bottom of the league. So these top teams just make their own tournament just for themselves as a big money grab. And the result of which is all the top players would only want to play on those top teams that could get all that extra money. And that's what's happening in soccer over there, making this super league. All the top players are going to want to be on a team that plays in the Super League, and they're not going to want to go to other teams. This could effectively just destroy European soccer altogether. And so this is a really interesting play. Now, we don't know how it's going to play out. I just read about it this morning, so I'm not super informed on it, but it could be really interesting. If this happens, it could really just be seen as a money grab, and we know that fans will be upset about it, but fans of the big teams, they'll just go along with it because that's what people do. If the Lakers broke out and had their own little super league, NBA Super Summer League or something like that, all the Lakers fans would be happy about it, and they wouldn't care about the lesser teams being excluded from that. The other ridiculous thing is that these teams that are permanent members, it doesn't matter how they do. They could have a losing season and they'd still be able to participate and get a big share of all the money that's brought in from the tournament, whereas other teams that might have done even better couldn't participate. So I think this is just an example of the rich just flexing their muscle and taking more and more. What's going to happen? I don't know. It's possible that FIFA and some UEFA and different governing bodies may do things like say, oh, you can't participate in the World Cup if you participate in the Super League. And that could pretty much ruin the World Cup because given the choice, yeah, people would want to represent their country in the World Cup. But if it's like, hey, you can make an extra $20 million or you can play for your country in the World Cup. Most of them are just going to take the payout, going to take the millions of dollars. So this is a really interesting thing. We're going to have to follow it to see what happens. But wow, what a power move by these teams in Europe. That's my quick little explanation as to what's going on. If you have any thoughts for this, let me know in the comments. Hope you're having an awesome day. Peace.